Hello, it's Fame Friday. This is the Trews, Fox News, Beyonce, everything colliding together. Teenage pregnancies. What's causing teenage pregnancies? Is it poverty or is it
Beyonce? Beyonce. 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 The singer Beyonce makes a video that is very explicit for children, particularly young girls between the ages of 10 and 14, who are vulnerable, don't know how to really process this.
What is his point? It's interesting that he's identifying Beyonce as some culturally dangerous figure.
And with the out-of-wedlock birth rate we have, and then teenage pregnancy is actually going down in this country, but we have a problem with the traditional family and all of that.
Right, it's to do with the traditional family. How is Beyonce, like a married woman, I think, with children, working, affecting traditional family values?
So I said, maybe this isn't a good thing. They came after me. You wrote almost the same thing. They came after you. They being the liberal media. Why do they see themselves as a defender of all things Beyonce?
Who are these self-appointed arbiters who tell people what's right and wrong? I mean, where they get off thinking that they have a divine right to tell people, for example, that there should be a great big fence between America and Mexico, or that Muslims are dangerous. I mean, where the hell do these people... Oh, no, that's me.
But the vehemence and the personal attacks that come out of this toward me and toward you, that surprised me.
I mean, all we tried to do was isolate and attack an empowered black woman. And it seemed like some people didn't like us doing that.
I mean, what do you have invested in this Beyonce? What is...
Beyonce? What is it? He thinks it's like some sort of potent mist that floats through life, influencing consciousness and creating teen pregnancy. Oh, God, close the window, dear. The Beyonce is rising. Oh, man, independent, make your teenage pregnant.
Here's the point. She doesn't have to go there.
She doesn't have to
be
do
successful.
It, and she chose to do it.
She could be a trend setter.
Bill O'Reilly telling Beyonce, you could be a trend setter. Why don't you set a trend like me? What I'm trying to do, for example, is be like an old guy, criticizing everything, particularly young, attractive black women. Give it a go.
The president said in an interview with Glamour magazine that he can't listen to Beyonce with his daughters because it would embarrass him.
I mean, I don't want to be reductive, but it just is image after image of powerful black people. And Bill O'Reilly go, No, I don't like this. You could be forgiven for thinking Bill O'Reilly just doesn't want powerful black people.
I believe that the press doesn't want judgments made about any behavior, except behavior from people they don't like.
Bill, you mad lunatic. It's like Bill's got some hypocrisy hat on and doesn't know how absurd what he's saying is. I mean, it's like if something doesn't fit in with their way of life, they're all too quick to condemn it. Meanwhile, the very channel that they work for supports illegal wars and is owned by a global corporation that constantly trivializes women.
Well, that's the essence of the message, is that there is a cultural disconnect.
The real cultural disconnect is, of course, Fox News and the Murdoch empire, but it's also disconnected from the culture that it's espousing. Murdoch owns GQ in Australia, and GQ trivialises women and objectifies women. American Idol, which celebrates sort of lower aspects of popular culture and this sort of hit and miss, sink or swim. If you're famous, you're valuable. If you're not famous, you can fuck off mentality. At the Teen Choice Awards, that's a Murdoch enterprise. Miley Cyrus's pole dancer caused all sorts of controversy about the sort of sexualisation of a young woman. And Fox Sports cheerleaders are presented as sex objects that we should gawp at. But what really brings about the decline of the family and traditional values is the sense that we live in a very unequal and unfair society where certain people are fair target for prejudice, bigotry, hate, and more importantly, poverty, and other people can be condemned, maligned, ignored, or fated according to the sort of the prism of Fox News's value system. What causes the sort of breakdown of society and what causes teen pregnancy is not Beyonce, it's poverty. If you took Beyonce out of the world, put her in a capsule and blasted her into space, like people don't think, oh, let's not have sex anymore, Beyonce's gone. The young people have sex and children outside the family because there's not enough social infrastructure, not enough support, not enough redistribution of wealth. And so that we don't reach that conclusion, because those things are boring, I sort of bored myself saying it, we'd rather think about Beyonce.
Between people who live in these bubbles, take those three bubbles and compare it to what I call the Bubbleville versus the Bubbaville. They don't understand the people in Bubbaville. We understand the people in Bubbleville.
What is Bubbaville? Stop saying Bubbaville all the time.
Because every television show and movie is about the people in the bubbles of New York, Washington, and Hollywood. But the people in the bubbles.
What, Steve? Stop talking about it. It's making me go mad now.
They don't understand. Why do people go to church? Why do people own guns?
Oh, they just look down upon us.
I don't look down upon Bill O'Reilly at all, actually. I kind of like him. I just wish that he would... The compassion that he wants for himself, the tolerance that he wants of himself and his views and his imagined constituency, why doesn't he offer that to people that are less fortunate? Why doesn't he turn his scrutiny and analysis to people higher up the chain, including his own boss and the corporate structure that he works for, a tax evading, tax avoiding swindler who brings about negativity wherever he practices business, causes division and hatred around the world, supports his colonising corporate companies that go in the Middle East, like Jimi Energy or whatever it is, promotes fracking and irresponsible practices around the world, and then tells us that the problem's Beyonce.
I was surprised. I mean, the attacks. Even last night, the left-wing websites, O'Reilly and Huckabee's obsession with Beyonce, like we care about her.
Day 2 of me not caring about Beyonce includes this breakdown of why I don't care about Beyonce and why I don't find her appealing at all and why I'd never imagine myself on my knees behind her going, "Could you love me?" That's coming up after the break.
And the fact that Beyonce is black is not irrelevant either.
How is that relevant, though? If she is, like, I went after Eminem.
I went after him. Hey, Eminem. What, man? Stop it! Stop with those long, shouty poems you do, those brilliant cultural analyses, the way you've tapped into the psyche of lower-class American people and provided a voice to the world with a lyrical genius not seen since Jacobean Britain. Okay, Bill.
Because I just think he's vile. And then I went after Ludacris.
Ludacris! Yeah, stop injecting humor and lightness into the world of hip-hop. Okay, Bill.
But the black woman, then it gets into another zone, you're saying.
Yeah, well, I think so, because liberals see themselves as the protectors of black people.
I'll tell you something, right? I'm like a sort of relatively young, but I've not seen so much Beyonce for ages. This is the most I've had to look at Beyonce is on this. This is what's bringing me Beyonce. This is what's objectifying, analysing, scrutinising Beyonce, albeit from the perspective of condemnation and criticism, because she's a convenient icon for condemning targets that Fox News already have. I think the problem actually is that Bill O'Reilly feels feelings when he watches the Beyonce video, and he doesn't like those feelings in himself. Bill, if you're turned on by Beyonce, just accept it. It's normal. And if you want to change the feeling of guilt that you associate to these sexual urges, then try perhaps to be more compassionate and campaign for News International to pay its tax and stop being registered in all sorts of tax haven subsidiaries. Stop Fox's companies campaigning for fracking. Stop the objectification and vilification of women and people of colour that exist throughout that media empire. Do something that you can actually affect. Or also, another option, stop wanking over Beyonce videos. There's some true news. Subscribe here.
Nose is a tool that is abused to fool you and to leave you scared and confused. Truths is like the nose. If the nose was true, I want some truths. Let's have some truths.